Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a good day, whatever it is you are up to. So today we're going to be talking about one of the many foundation launches that has just launched. So it seems like every brand has come out with a foundation in the last couple of weeks, and as much as I love makeup and new releases, it's overwhelming. I've been talking about it a bit over on my social media, over on my Instagram, and a lot of people seem to feel the same way. Like it can be really hard to keep up, and I suppose when you call yourself, a beauty blogger or whatever it is, you kind of feel like you're obliged to keep up with everything, and often, financially wise especially, it's impossible to buy everything. So I sort of had made like a mental list in the past sort of while of releases that were coming out, ones that I was really interested in, and in particular it was, of course, I love this brand, I love Fenty. I've made a video on her stuff before, so I of course had to get the new Pro Filt'r Hydrating Longwear foundation. Now I actually was sent the wrong shade. When I say sent, I mean I ordered it from Boots. It arrived into the store and I ordered shade 120, which is the same as what I have in the Pro Filt'r Soft Matte Longwear foundation. I'll link that video up here if you haven't seen it yet. They sent me shade 190 instead, so I had to send it back, and then they thankfully sent me back the right shade, which is the shade 120. I was debating whether to do one half of the face with the matte one and the other half with the hydrating one, but I don't think I'm going to do that today. I haven't actually tried the hydrating foundation, and I feel like my skin could do with a bit of hydration. Now, I do have my serum on, my Skin Ingredient serum on, and I have my SPF on, of course. But I just think I would like to try this first on its own, and then what I might do is I might either add a clip at the end of the video of me wearing one of each on both sides of my face, or else I might just kind of do it in a video on my Instagram. If that's something you're interested in, comment down below and let me know, and I'd be more than happy to do that for you. So along with this, Fenty released a couple of new brushes. I didn't get any of those. I already have one of her foundation brushes, and I do love the sponge. I featured that in that previous video I did. And she also released a hydrating primer, which sounded really good, but Boots actually don't seem to have it for some reason. I saw afterwards Harvey Nichols have it, and I kind of was like, I need another primer? Like, I'm so stuck on my Milk Hydro Grip primer. I love this stuff. The other good thing about this is I find this doesn't affect, if you wear this with a matte or hydrating foundation, it won't make one foundation more matte or one more hydrating. I feel like it has that sort of level ground. So I love it for that reason as well as for many other reasons, which I'll link it up here if you want to watch that. So let's go ahead and just look at the claims. So going by the official Fenty website, it says hydrating medium to full coverage for all skin tones, long wear, light as air. So it's marketed as a medium to full coverage foundation, long wearing, and that it's really light. So it says a first of its kind hydrating long wear foundation that delivers it all with comfortable medium to full coverage, serious staying power, and a natural finish. A natural finish perfect for normal to dry skin, all in a groundbreaking range of 50 shades. So they say we're talking natural, not dewy, like your skin just had a must-needed drink of water. So I suppose that there is that difference where, you have your dewy side and your matte side. This isn't going to look dewy, but it's supposed to hydrate your skin. It says, recognizing the need for a hydrating Pro Filt'r formula that normal to dry skin types will love, Rihanna created this foundation with grapeseed oil and sodium hyaluronate, so I think that's basically like hyaluronic acid, to give skin the nourishing hydration it needs to stay comfortable all day. Long wear, coverage, and hydration. Now you can have it all. Undetectable on the skin. 50 shades, which is great. What else? It's a normal... Actually, no, it's not. I was going to say 30ml. It's actually 32ml, so it's slightly more than the usual 30ml of product that you get in a standard foundation. And I bought this on the Boots website for €34, so it's the exact same price as the original Pro Filt'r Soft Matte foundation. See, the original Pro Filt'r Soft Matte foundation by Fenty is loved by a lot of people. I love it too, but I do find that my skin, I have to do that prep beforehand. I have to make sure it's hydrated because it really does dry down to that matte finish, and it locks you know, the foundation in place. You know, if your skin is quite dry, it could run the risk of emphasizing fine lines and texture and that kind of thing, which we don't want. So I do love it, but I have to make sure my skin is adequately primed, hydrated, nourished, everything like that beforehand. And there are people who have sort of chronically dry skin, and they say that they want to wear this foundation but they can't because of how matte it is. I mean, you can understand that. So I think a lot of people will be understandably delighted that she's come out with a hydrating formula. Right, I'm going to stop talking because I don't think there's anything else to say. I'm going to do, it won't be a full face of Fenty, but I have a lot of Fenty in front of me. So I thought we might as well just make it more or less full face of Fenty video. Because I have a good few of her products. So this is what it looks like. I really do like the packaging. It's hard to pick up on camera there. So you can see it has that clear window in the tube, which means you can kind of see the colour. And then it has a nice tube on top, and it's really kind of light. So it's definitely handbag and travel friendly, which I love. I think I might go with my usual Milk primer because this is the stuff I've been using non-stop since I first tried it. And just because I don't want to run the risk of the Fenty primer making the foundation look more matte than it would otherwise, if that makes sense, because I think it can do that. So I'm going to go with the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. I'm also going to be using the Fenty, I think it's called the Precision Sponge. I've spoken about this before. I really like it. It's really, really nice. So I'm just going to put that primer all over my face. I have a lovely big painful spot right on my cheekbone. So in terms of the Fenty products I have in front of me, I have the Pro Filter Concealer in the shade 120. I have the Pro Filter setting powder in the shade Butter. I have the Highlighting Duo in Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal. I have the Sunstalker Instant Warmth Bronzer in the shade Shady Biz. I have the matte matchsticks in Amber. I love this for contouring. I have 5 Fenty lipsticks in front of me. I have 4 of the Stunna lip paints, and I have 1 of the Mademoiselle lipsticks. So yeah, and the rest will be kind of a mix of other brands, from Pennies to Benefit, and a bit of e.l.f. as well. And that's it, we'll have our full face. Oh, and Too Faced, my Too Faced Natural Face Palette. I'll be using the blushes from there today. Runnier, definitely a bit runnier, yeah, a bit runnier than the Soft Matte Foundation. So I'm just going to, that sponge is quite wet. I'm just going to dip this sponge in here and start applying, and we'll see if it covers up this bad boy over here. You can definitely see a shine off it. I also tested the brand new Urban Decay Stay Naked foundation. I'll link that up here if you haven't seen it yet. I would definitely recommend giving it a watch. Okay, so we've almost done the face. Now I've had to pump a few times, but they're relatively small pumps. See, I can see how pale I look in the camera, but I don't look that pale in real life. Okay, we're gonna go really close in because it's the best way to show you. Forehead looks really nice. It's covered up the spot, like it has taken down a good bit of the redness, but it isn't going to completely cover that bump. Concealer will conceal it a bit, but nothing will really make the bump go down. But that's just, you know, it's just life. We'll get spots. I really like the finish of that. I'll be very interested to see how this wears in comparison to the soft matte one. Now the sort of satiny finish on my face will probably dry down a little bit more once the foundation sets a bit more. But I'm hoping it won't, you know, it'll still retain some of that element of looking hydrated. Right, so I have given the foundation a few minutes to set, just to see how it sets. Does it stay sort of satiny, or does it dry down to a more matte finish? I would say now it's still a bit tacky, but it looks a little bit more matte, slightly, only slightly. I still have that nice kind of shine on my cheekbones. Tip of my nose looks quite nice. The most telling area for me is the forehead, so it hasn't really sank into any fine lines just yet. I mean, I could see my fine lines are there, but they're not emphasized, so that's really telling for me. I really like that. So I need to powder my nose. I would always powder around my nose, just a little bit of my T-zone, my chin, and then I also want to try conceal this spot as well. So I'm hoping this concealer will work for me, that it won't actually, you know, brighten up that area where the spot is. I want it to cover it. So this is the shade 120 in the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Instant Retouch Concealer. As I've already said, I mentioned this in my, I think it was my last, not my last one. I've made a few videos featuring Fenty products because I bought so much of their products in the last year. It is in, I think, the first video I did. So I'm going to take just the sponge again, and I'm going to try and just see, does it dull down that redness? I do like the concealer, but I do find it is a little more on the drying side, which is good for longevity, but not so good if your under eyes are chronically dry. So I'm using my e.l.f. Hydrating Under Eye Primer. I've spoken about this a lot. I did a full face of e.l.f. I'll link that up here if you want to watch that. So I'm just patting this under the eye. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead with the concealer now. Something happened there. I don't like it. Maybe you can see it just in here. Yeah, you can see it just here. Not liking that at all. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to continue. Okay, well, I hate how my under eyes look. Anyway, moving on. Just gonna put a little bit of powder on my nose. Honestly, it could be the powder, that it's just not the right shade for me, but butter is what was recommended to me on the website for my my skin tone and how fair I am. Okay, I'm hoping when the rest of my face is done, it'll look a bit better. I'm gonna go in with the matte matchstick, warm up in the back of my hand first. It's a nice cool toned colour. So I'm just gonna try avoid my spot if I can. This is really nice, really easy to blend. See, it just leaves that kind of nice shadow on the side of your face there. I'm going to use my Rebel Luna or 04 brush for bronzer. So as I said earlier, this is the shade Shady Biz. Looks like this. Had a nice kind of FB embossing, Fenty Beauty embossing in there, but it's gone now because I've used it so much. So I'm just gonna always pulling back towards the ear. Unfortunately, concealer is coming off as I'm putting bronzer over it where the spot is, but okay. Now moving on to blush. I'm going to go dip into my Too Faced Natural Face Palette because I don't have a blush from Fenty. I'll link this video up here where I reviewed this palette. I love it and it smells like chocolate and vanilla, which is amazing. So I'm going to go into Pink Sand and then Pink Wink, just the very apples of the cheeks. Now I'm going to take my Rebelluna or 06 brush and dip into that highlighter. This is Lightning Dust on Fire Crystal. I really do like that highlighter. It can be a little bit on the glittery side, but I've used other highlighters before that have been like almost like big glittery chunk and they just don't look flattering in the face, whereas this does. It's really, it's like a pared down metallic highlighter kind of when you use the Fire Crystal shade. When you use the Fire Crystal shade layered on top of Lightning Dust, it's lovely. I'm going to finish the rest of my face off camera. I don't want this video to be too long, also because obviously I want to do a wear test, so I'll be coming back on later on to show you how everything is wearing. But so far, I like the foundation. I mean, I didn't build it up to full coverage. The only real coverage I wanted was really around that spot where I wanted full coverage. Still like how it looks on the forehead. Everything blended over it well. The concealer and powder issue is separate to the foundation. I know when I first tried them, I think I liked them at first, but I noticed pretty quickly, oh my god, do you want to see the creasing under my eyes? I now remember why I stopped using them. I think if you're oilier skin, you probably like this. Now, this is horrible, but can you see that creasing? And that's with that hydrating e.l.f. primer. And I've also used that concealer without it and it's done the same thing. So not a fan of that. But we're not testing those today, we're testing the foundation. So I will finish off my makeup and then I'll probably come back on briefly just to show you it. And then I will do check-ins in a couple of hours. So hold tight and I will be right back. Okay, so the rest of my makeup is on. In case you're wondering what I used the Penny's PS Brow Sketch in brown on my eyebrows, and then I used the Benefit Gimme Brow in the shade 3. I used the Benefit Bad Gal Bang mascara on my eyelashes, and then for lips I have on the Fenty Beauty Stunna lip paint in the shade Uncuffed. This is probably the least worn shade I have out of the 4 that I have from Fenty, only because it's a little more purpley kind of mauve than I expected in real life, and I'm not always sure that it suits my skin tone. I can see in the viewfinder now it looks slightly darker than it is in person, but I actually like it today. I like it with really minimal, like I've no eye makeup on, just mascara, so I actually kind of like it today. So yeah, I did notice there fine lines were getting a little bit more emphasized. I just kind of I just put a tiny bit more of the foundation on my forehead with the sponge and it seems to be okay again. I tried to put a little bit more on my chin, but I think because I already have powder on my chin, the foundation won't take, so now there's just like a little patch here. So maybe the foundation doesn't like powder, and we'll see how it wears throughout the day. Rest of it looks good. As I said, everything applied well over it. That spot, you can see the concealer came off it when I applied the bronzer over it. So I'm going to leave it there. It is currently 4:13. So I might only have this on for about 6 hours. Well, I mean, I've technically already had it on an hour. So it'll be about a 7-hour wear test today. I think that'll be enough to see, you know, will it break down over those 7 hours because of the hydrating formula that it is. I feel like if it's going to break down, it would do that within a 7-hour time frame. So we're going to test that, and as always, after I wear it a bit more, I'll put it in a pinned comment down below. I'll kind of put an update on how I'm enjoying it and how I'm liking it, or if I'm not. I'll be honest as I always am. So I'm going to leave it there, go about the rest of my day, and I will see you later. Hi guys, and we're back. So it has been about 8 hours since I applied the foundation. It is 11 o'clock at night now. I need to take all this makeup off and go to bed. So I haven't touched up all day. It's worth noting that I haven't used any extra powder. I haven't used any more foundation. I haven't used any setting powder, so nothing to help the longevity. And I haven't really looked in the mirror either. So I'm going to do that now, and then I'm going to zoom you in to show you what it looks like. You can see there on my chin. It's worn away pretty badly. Okay, so it's worth noting first of all that I have a oily T-zone. Typically I have combination skin, so my skin would be fairly normal to dry, some dry patches around the perimeters of the face, and then I would have an oily T-zone. So clearly you can see I do have a bit of oil on my face. I would say it has emphasized my fine lines on my forehead. Bit of creasing around my nose, but it's not totally exaggerated, it's not too bad. The chin looks like it's worn away, but it's mainly because I put foundation on, set it with powder, and then I tried to put a bit more foundation on top. And obviously it just didn't take to the skin then. My under eyes are horrific. I'm really annoyed about that. I'm gonna try to show you. So I know this isn't the best angle. Might be able to see it's completely worn away in there. That happened within the first few hours of putting on this concealer. This certainly did not happen the first few times I tried the concealer. I don't know, maybe if as the concealer gets older, as the formula changed, maybe with the powder, it didn't like it. I mean, it's horrific. I've never had concealer look so bad. Like, if I was going out anywhere today, I would have had to take it off. There's no way I'd go out looking like that, not a chance. I would have taken it off and put something else on. I'm definitely going to try the concealer again with a different setting powder. My more usual setting powder is the Laura Mercier one, so I'm going to try that. Yeah, so concealer, very disappointing. The foundation, to be honest, you know, first impressions, I liked it upon first application. Definitely liked the satin finish, and it dried down to a, it's not a matte, but you can just feel it is more like a lighter kind of hydrating texture than the soft matte one, definitely. But in terms of coverage, I mean, it didn't really do much to disguise the redness of that blemish, and I had to use concealer over that, and the concealer came off when I put bronzer over it. So that element of it, I'm not too sure. I've got another spot coming up there, I've just seen. It's great. I'm a bit on the fence about this one. Normally that primer works really well to hold it in place, and I do think it could look better. It's definitely not the worst I've used, but that's not really what you want when you pay, you know, €34 for a foundation. You expect more. Like, if I'm to touch it, like there's transfer coming off. So I think if you're oily skinned, I'm not too sure how well this would go down for you, just judging by the kind of separation around my kind of oilier areas. I'm definitely going to try it again. I will insert a clip here of me wearing it in natural daylight. I recorded a short clip earlier on my phone, just against the window to get the natural daylight to show you what it's like. It hasn't oxidized that much at all, despite what I thought. So I'm not sure what else I can say, to be honest. I'm not going to compare to the original one because I haven't worn that in a while. But upon initial application, it definitely has a lighter formula and does feel more hydrating than the matte one, definitely. It takes longer to kind of set. I'm not sure I'd agree with the claims on it being totally long wearing. I mean, it's been, what, 8 hours? And you know, if I was to go somewhere now, I'd want to be touching it up a bit, and I would certainly get rid of the concealer, but that's a different product entirely. Yeah, so I mean, when I first put it on, I really liked it, and like I haven't even been outside in the elements or like anything like that, so I feel like it should look a bit better. But I mean, everything else has stayed intact, like the bronzer, the blush hasn't really like faded or like slid around on it, so that's good. I think I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna try it again. I will definitely do another review of it, probably over on my Instagram, so if you want to follow me on there, I would love to have you. or you can also just check maybe in a couple of weeks I will do a pinned comment down below just to kind of give an update on how I feel about it, because sometimes you might like a product at first and then afterwards you might decide actually I don't like it, and also the opposite can happen as well. So we'll just have to wait and see. There are many more foundation launches coming out that I know of, so I will probably be testing quite a few of them in the next couple of weeks. I hope you will stick around for that. If you have any kind of suggestions or recommendations, do make sure to leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to do that for you. That's all for now. I hope you're well. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you in my next video. Thanks guys, see you next time.